Good afternoon, I am Precious Mzea Sakaleshi. Welcome to Camnet TV Media News. The headlines. The PF accuses government of neglecting the people of COPPERBELT. Court finds NUDE protester 18 kwacha. Details coming through after this commercial.
Hi ladies and gentlemen, I'm Cholwe from Cho's Fitness Gym. We're a fully functional gym located along Twin Palm Road in Kablonga, right by Cheshire Homes Society of Zambia. So we have various classes that happen from Monday to Friday. We have aerobics, we have boot camp, we have step aerobics, we have spinning, we have kettlebell classes. They happen from 18 to 19 hours every day, and we are open from 06 until 20 hours. That's Monday to Friday. Then Saturdays 6 to 12. And then Sundays we are closed, and most public holidays we are open 6 to 12.
A falcon, known for flying high speeds, unmistakably grace and flying incredible long distances. Falcon Express is equal to the task with your deliveries. Friendly and reliable, a company that cares for you, local and international coverage. Company that empowers its customers on time, every time, all year. Nationwide delivery.
Send your parcel through Falcon Express to Mongu, Kabwe, Ndola, Kapiri, Kitwe, Chingola, Chipata, Livingstone, Mazabuka, Kasama, Solwezi, Kalumbila, Chililabombwe, Luansha, Kalulushi. Get in touch with us on +260 971 130 766 and drop your parcels at Falcon Express. Falcon Express, your parcels are safe with us.
And now the media news in detail. Government has released more than 86 million kwacha to address the emergency sanitation situation in 4 districts hardly hit by sanitation challenges.
Old infrastructure has continued to cause serious water and sanitation challenges, thereby posing serious threats of the outbreak of waterborne diseases in communities. Kaunda Square in Lusaka, Kwacha and Wulongoti Township in Kitwe, Kaboshi Township in Ndola, Ron and Impatamato Townships in Luansha have been identified as the most affected areas which government says needs urgent interventions. Minister of Water and Sanitation Mike Imposha, working with the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit DMMU, has since announced that government has released more than 86 million kwacha to address the emerging sanitation situation in the above-mentioned townships.
The Treasury has released to this ministry an amount to the tune of 86,630,000 kwacha 115. The said amount is meant to address the emergency sanitation situation in the affected areas as earlier mentioned. I must emphasize here that this government will not allow a situation where our people should continue being subjected to living and trading in sewer flooded environment.
The minister adds that the resources will be released to the utility companies in the named areas and that works should be undertaken by the CUs themselves without having to engage contractors from the outside unless where need be. He has since warned the utility company to refrain from doing shady works.
I will not sit here, we will not sit here as government and just watch the laissez-faire attitude. We have given out these funds and we want, these are emergency works. We don't want these works to take forever. We want to ensure that you quickly go in, procure the pipes that are required, procure all the necessary things that you need, and begin the works so that we don't go until after the rain season. We are still in the procurement, and then people are subjected to the very things that we are trying to avoid.
Minister Mposha says the country needs in excess of 6 billion kwacha to completely deal with the challenges of water and sanitation, adding that his government is working round the clock to ensure that it raises the much-needed resources to address the challenge. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Lusaka Magistrate Irene Washimanga has fined 28-year-old Dorcas Nachibona, who tied herself with a chain to a Freedom Statue fence, 18 kwacha fine for idle and disorderly conduct.
After deciding to go at the Freedom Statue on Wednesday in the early morning and tied herself with a chain while holding a placard with the words written, "Stop giving conditional aid, we want liberation," 28-year-old property manager Dorcas Nachibola says she is truly apologetic. No matter how noble the cause of her actions, the end will not justify the means, adding that she acted out of ignorance. The convict, a resident of Foxdale in Lusaka, said this Friday morning when she appeared before Lusaka Magistrate Irene Washimanga in her mitigation after pleading guilty to a charge of idle and disorderly conduct. Dorcas, who has spent 2 days behind the police cells of Lusaka since her arrest on the 7th of December 2022, was on Wednesday morning was found tied to a fence at the Freedom Statue in Lusaka in an unexplained circumstance. She has been given a sentence of a fine of 18 kwacha in default 1 month simple imprisonment, as the offense she was facing is misdemeanor, which also allows for a fine. The offense of idle and disorderly conduct that the accused was facing is contrary to Section 178F of the Penal Code, Chapter 87 of the Laws of Zambia. On Wednesday, the police were investigating a matter in which the convict at the time, who was said to have been of Lusaka's Emansdale area, was found chained at the bars of the Freedom Statue fence, half naked and in a drunk state. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Leader of the opposition in Parliament, Brian Munduwile, has charged that Zambians, especially those in the Copperbelt, realized their mistakes for voting for the United Party for National Development into office.
The Opposition Patriotic Front Friday, during its weekly press conference on governance, highlighted a number of issues they feel the governing United Party for National Development is not doing right. Others raised concern over the government's communication inconsistencies and the handling of the Farmer Input Support Program, among others. PF Shuangando Member of Parliament Stephen Kampiongo says they are not against abolishing the death penalty, but the process being used through amendments. He says the government needs to call for a referendum so that Zambians can decide. Meanwhile, in the meantime, Leader of the opposition in Parliament, Brian Munduwile, has charged that Zambians on the Copperbelt are now realizing that they made a mistake to vote for the United Party for National Development (UPND), which has allegedly neglected them, as seen in the handling of the issue surrounding Mopani mine.
Responsible of government to come out with that reaction that they cannot invest in Mopani and that is not priority. Then the question is, what then is priority to the NUDE government? If the suffering of the poor people, the Zambians, is not priority, what then is their priority? Those are the questions to ask. We see them rushing to make decisions to give concessions in the mining sector, as long as those concessions will benefit the foreigners, the rich people. I'm therefore of a position that for some reason or the other, the president is not properly informed about what's happening on the Copperbelt. Because any sitting head of state voted for by the Zambian people, 2.8 million Zambians wake up to come and vote for you. You can only put Zambians as a priority. And neglecting the people on the Copperbelt in the manner the UPND is doing may be on account of the president not receiving correct information. But if at all he's received the correct information and he has continued to ignore the people on the Copperbelt, then I'm very sure that the Zambian people now realize that they made a mistake to vote the new dawn government into power. Because then you have a government in power that will not care about the suffering of its own local people.
And Mr. Mundubire says the PF is taking unfolding events in the mining sector seriously, further stating that they have put a red flag on the Kansanshi and ZCCM IH transfer of shares transaction.
Look beyond where ACC looks. So this transaction revolving around Kansanshi mine and FQM, we have put a red flag on it. As far as we are concerned, using our standard test for corruption, this case passes for one of those cases. So we want government to answer the difficult questions regarding this transaction. We want to ensure that the Zambian people get maximum benefit from their resources, starting with their mineral resource going forward.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
Small and Medium Enterprises Development Minister Elias Muwanga says the government is devising a plan to empower welders along the Ali Kinkata Road in Kalingalinga area of NUDE constituency.
These are the famous welders of Kalingalinga Township operating along Ali Kinkata Road. They have demonstrated high levels of creativity in the area of metal fabrication. The numbers are dwindling as the rich are taking over the space owing to the fact that landlords opt to sell their houses to people of foreign origin who are paying good money for the properties in the prime business location. However, beyond the electricity challenge, they are concerned that successive governments have not taken any practical interventions to empower them to grow their business to be able to supply the local and foreign markets.
But the voting change is the full empowerment of Tipanga ma taxi change bosiana siana. But mama kapelani ma taxi yaronga ku maskulu. Banda ma companies ne wamene matenga panga ma taxi woshita pale. Ma FM yo fetina for the team combo na make sense ya combo ntibe ma companies. Batenza ko banje so kuma boma yanga nepo. Tinavota para ndo zabo somewhere ku matfundi kanjani kuti masoja kuti takuta muchemucha but yapate.
We spoke to Zambia's minister responsible for small and medium enterprises development, Elias Muwanga, who explained that they are working on a specific program targeting welders along the Ali Kinkata Road.
Those boys there who are doing fabrication work, they are my target. Very soon we want to get to them and then also give them a package, help them develop what they are doing. You know, we want to bring up a certain, mechanism for them, to bring them together, and then we set up some more like an industrial hub for them.
He adds that progress has been made on the process of formulating the small and medium enterprises policy.
And very soon, because I think we are just at the last stage. The group we are in Siavonga developing the policy and they are just finalizing. We've actually consulted throughout this country and all the top stakeholders have been consulted and we just finalizing this. It will be a game changer for the small and medium businesses. Very soon we'll be able to announce it.
Development advocates have been of the view that if Zambia is to sustainably grow its economy, citizens must be empowered to take over the wheels of production. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Well, that news item brings us to the end of Camnet TV Media News, but before we go, here are the headlines once again. The PF accuses government of neglecting the people of COPPERBELT. Court finds NUDE protester 18 kwacha. Thank you for watching. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Good afternoon.